Supergirl is super garbage, and it turns out when you attack the fan base, come after Christian dads, and use identity politics to try and promote the movie, it makes people pissed off and not want to go see it while also managing to not appeal to the normal viewer.
It's Hollywood, baby.
It's already a struggle to get the modern day moviegoer to show up to the theater in the first place, so why would you make them have more of a reason not to come? For example, I saw Supergirl Wednesday at a fan event and there was barely anybody there, which one, doesn't surprise me, and two, is not good, because Spider-Man tickets were completely selling out, and this fan event for Supergirl was the complete opposite. Seats weren't filling up and people didn't even enjoy it. At the end of the movie, a mother and a daughter who were sitting next to me went, "Boo, this sucked," and got up and left.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But oh, how in the world could this all have been avoided? Well, all you had to do was stop your lead actress from opening her mouth and talking shit to the audience.
Right, yeah, of course.
But let's be honest, that isn't the case, and this movie was dead before it even hit the theaters. The entire press tour, Millie Alcock has been talking almost about everything except the movie or the characters, and how excited she is to be playing the role, such an iconic hero. She's instead calling out Christian dads and discussing how people are worried about ownership of women's bodies, or discussing Supergirl's sexuality.
I don't know. She'd probably go both ways.
Or how the film isn't a love story and it isn't centered around a man at all.
It wasn't, but in honor of Pride Month, as I'm getting all these questions, I don't know. I think that what makes this film so beautiful is that it's not centered around a man. It's not centered around love at all.
It's those kinds of comments that we've seen before in the past with Rachel Zegler, and look how Snow White turned out.
Focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's funny you should say that, because I was looking through some old photos and it looks very, similar.
It's the exact same pattern that ruined that movie. Disrespect the fans, disrespect men. And it's funny that was even said considering men are majority of the audience. And nobody cares what her sexuality is. They're there to watch Supergirl fly around and punch people, which she barely even does. This movie needed to do well. This was your second major installment in the DCU. James Gunn needed this movie to perform. This could be his job on the line. There was no room for error, not with how much money they put into it either. And now people really don't like her as Supergirl, which isn't good for the DCU, especially when it's rumored she's going to be heavily featured in Man of Tomorrow. But the real fact of the matter is this: the movie is genuinely bad. It has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. The best thing about this movie is the 10 minutes David Corn sweats on screen as Superman, because he's genuinely likable. And that's not good, because this isn't his movie, and the DCU really needed it to work. But in order for you to understand better why it's so awful, I unfortunately have to tell you what happens in this god-awful movie, so you can keep your hard-earned dollar and not waste it to go see this garbage.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
She's been living with her family on a piece of Krypton that was left over protected by a force field that is now being exposed to kryptonite in the soil and poisoning everybody. And her father sends her away. And after landing on Earth and spending some time with Superman, she decides it's not for her and leaves the planet to spend her days in a red solar system where she can actually feel something because her powers are weaker. And she spends her days drinking away and partying like a degenerate college girl who's wasting her life going to frat parties and being a strong, independent woman.
Right.
When a little girl named Ruth, who's been going from planet to planet to try and find someone to avenge her family who was killed by a forgettable generic villain named Krem, who's eating in every scene he walks into for some odd reason, and whose main goal is to steal little girls and continue their male-only race.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
They conveniently end up on the same planet together, and Supergirl has no interest in helping the little girl, because it's her birthday and she's just trying to party, until Krem conveniently shows up and shoots Krypto with a poison dart instead of just vaporizing him, and flies away in her ship. And now she only has 3 moon raises or 72 hours to get Krypto the antidote. So now Supergirl and Ruth are taking bus rides through the galaxy looking for information on where to find Krem, when they run into Lobo, who's only there to provide advertising publicity to try and make you think he's in the movie longer, and totally not there to steal your money by making you watch this garbage in hopes to see his character more.
That doesn't make sense.
Who, after his fight sequence with Supergirl, you don't see again until the end of the movie, when he's conveniently on Krem's ship, helps fight his men, and Kara finally shows up in her Supergirl outfit with the last 30 minutes left, after being weakened by a green sun that conveniently goes away so she can beat everybody up, which is basically every scene they've already showed in the trailer, making you feel like you sat there for an hour and 48 minutes for nothing. After a long anticlimactic fight fight, she kills Krem after telling the little girl not to because revenge doesn't make you feel any better. And that's the plot of this horrible movie summarized, and I'm sorry it even took that long for me to get through it. There are some very big issues with this movie, them being the awful lighting, terrible CGI, and horrible dialogue. For example, you can't even see the characters half the time. The whole movie is so dark and you struggle to just see what's going on. And every planet they're on looks the exact same. They apparently travel the galaxy, but you can't even tell the difference between any of the planets. The set design is awful. They go to multiple bars and different planets and it looks like the same place from different angles. There's no difference in set design or world development, along with the fact that it's using Marvel humor that nobody thinks is funny anymore, while having the inability to compose original music and using James Gunn's playlist with songs that don't fit the current mood of the scene. This movie honestly feels like a bad remake of True Grit, which is a great movie with John Wayne or Jeff Bridges if you're familiar with the remake. And the whole point of that film is a little girl's father dies and she hires a drunk US Marshal to help her get revenge on her dad's killer. So not only did the original comic and this movie feel like a bad knockoff of that, but to make it even worse, the writing is horrendous. They hired a writer that has little to no writing experience. And I'm talking about the last thing she wrote before Supergirl was in 2018, and it was a short film I've never heard of. And before that, she was a working actor who's been in a couple things I've heard of, like Blue Bloods and Vampire Diaries. But James Gunn really gave Supergirl, the second biggest movie in the DCU, to an inexperienced writer. Sloth from the Goonies could have wrote and directed this movie better in his cave with a box of scraps.
Was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
And Millie Alcock's portrayal of Supergirl is a degenerate, disrespectful narcissist who lacks empathy and compassion, and that shows no concern for the little girl until Crypto gets poisoned, which completely contradicts her general motto, which is hope, help, and compassion. And then, all of a sudden at the end of the movie, she finally decides that she's going to be the hero because she put her suit on. That's not how being a hero works at all. Steve Rogers was Captain America before he got the suit because he cared for others and always looked out for the little guy. It's not until she puts the suit on that she all of a sudden has compassion and cares about what's happening. It's actually pathetic. It doesn't do anything to inspire little girls or girls in general. She's a terrible role model because that's who this movie's clearly targeted for, even though that's not majority of their demographic. And everyone who disagrees with me will say, well, that's how she is in the comics. It's comic accurate.
Stop the cap.
But that's a load of BS because, like I said, the comic doesn't even feel like an original story. It feels like a ripoff of True Grit. And this movie feels like True Grit, Mad Max, and a bad Guardians of the Galaxy movie all combined into one. But the biggest issue is the actress. From the beginning, she's been entitled, saying controversial things, making people become irritated and not want to see the movie in the first place, while also being completely miscast and not making it seem like she wants to even be there to play the character, and that it was a last resort. So instead of talking about how this is a fun movie for everyone, no matter your belief, age, color, gender, or sexuality, and is a great opportunity to be able to play the character, she decides she's going to contribute to the continued problem that modern Hollywood suffers from, which is the inability to create new interesting stories with good morals, and instead what's starting to feel like assembly line movies with big CGI sequences and poor writing, therefore including ungrateful actors that spew their own agenda and come after the fans when they disagree, when we're the ones that put the money in the studio's pocket so they can get paid in the first place. But let me know down in the comments below, are you going to see Supergirl? And if you already did, what did you think of it? I'm really interested to hear what you guys think in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.